Let's talk about that Titans TV show, which is rumored to be in development over at TNT. More specifically, let's talk about the main character on that show, Nightwing. Now, it was announced earlier this week that Stephen R. McQueen, Elena's buff younger brother on The Vampire Diaries, is being written off of the show. Why I mention this is because McQueen has been rumored for quite a long time to be in the running to actually play Nightwing. Obviously, McQueen isn't a well-known actor. He's been on The Vampire Diaries for 6 years, and his only starring role was in the Piranha 3D remake, which, granted, was a great movie. It's not really shooting him to the top of the star charts. And in that case, I kind of like that idea. I like that he's slightly well known, at least to a younger crowd, but he's not a super big star. And honestly, we're not going to get a super big star on a show like Titans on TNT. Their current show is that the show they're currently running is The Librarians, which has Rebecca Romaine, former Mystique, as the lead. So we're not talking A-list movie stars here, but we're not talking the bottom of the barrel. And I think that can work in its favor. Look at Arrow. Stephen Amell was not a well-known actor at all. Where Flash, Grant Gustin's biggest role before that was playing a villain on Glee. So these aren't actors that everyone goes, okay, this is who I wanted in this part. This is who has to be him. And I think it works in its favor. It allows them to kind of prove their worth to us, and kind of provide something new. Obviously, physically, McQueen has the body type. He has the hair to be Dick Grayson. His acting, it's good. It's not great, but then again, it's comic book shows. Deep down, guys, these are never going to win Emmys or anything like that. Which is so I think it's a good idea to kind of give him a chance. I'm kind of rooting for him. I want him to be successful. I want him to be actually on the show. They could go in a completely different direction. It's not really up to us. McQueen isn't the only one who fans are hoping to get the role of Nightwing. A lot of people are actually pushing for Danny Shepard, who was recently seen in the Nightwing web series that had successful Kickstarting campaign, and recently had a 5-episode run. A lot of people are tweeting at the producers of the show or anyone involved at DC or Warner Brothers that Danny Shepard would be a great choice. Personally, I think that's a bad idea. Full disclosure, I did support the Nightwing Kickstarter. I loved the show. However, Shepard is not a great actor. A lot of it was because it was an amateur production, and you can't fault that. But I don't think that he has the chops to pull off a weekly series, much less being the star of a weekly series, even if it is on basic cable. So I don't think that's a good idea. I would rather actually see him and his team continue to make fan videos. They made a great Superboy short a few months back, and I'd rather see them expand that universe on their own rather than being beholden to DC itself. Obviously, I know that DC could at any time shut down their production, which would prevent any sort of future Nightwing series, especially if Titans goes to series. They're not gonna DC is going to be probably more stringent on allowing other people to actually produce web content, especially when it's might be encroaching on their own properties. Casting aside, I think there's another elephant in the room on this, and that's the fact that Titans is a separate universe from Flash and from Arrow and Supergirl, from Gotham, from the movies. So again, DC, it's not quite getting the the Marvel approach with having one universe across movies and television. DC wants separate universes across movies, television networks. All have their different universes. So I think that's going to lead to problems down the line. I think, especially when you're talking characters from Titans who have a strong relationship with characters from Supergirl, from Flash, from Arrow, from obviously Gotham. Although Gotham is a whole different story that I don't have time to get into here. So I think, personally, if I had my way, I would want Titans to be by the same showrunners as Flash and Arrow. Right now the main guy behind it, was responsible for Batman and Robin. So we're not talking a high pedigree there, especially So obviously, I'm not going to make the tire jokes about rubber suits. Obviously, costumes have evolved since the 90s. But I still think that DC's greatest weakness is not having these characters in one shared universe, and not connecting the fact that that Nightwing is a huge part of the Batman mythos. So I think in the end, I'm apprehensive towards the new Titans TV show. Obviously, I'm excited about potential casting, but until then, I think we all need to keep our expectations in check here and realize that this could take off. This could be great for everyone, or it could be a failure. And I fear that if it is a failure, it's going to set back any sort of Nightwing movie, any sort of Teen Titans Young Justice movie. It's going to set it back several years, because I think television, it seems to be the testing ground for DC. They're going to test an idea on TV. If it works, they'll take it to the big screen. Suicide Squad. So I guess we'll see. But until then, hope you guys keep following, and I'll keep having more opinions.